Recording now in progress.
Got my ass.
Got you. That's
4K.
fine. This is a family-friendly stream.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back.
What is up, my duder? Welcome back to the No Bull Pod. I haven't done one in a while because
you've been busy.
Well, not only have I been busy, but Marcel's just kind of like whatever.
Nah, we're still talking about. I thought he was fired. I thought last episode you said he was fired.
Yeah, I fired him like 4 times.
Wait a minute. I'm starting to question the legitimacy of your management skills.
I know I care too much.
Damn. Don't think about it too much.
All
right. So what are we talking today?
Today we are talking some Star Wars.
Okay, all right. We got a lot of content for Star Wars coming out right now. A lot of it's being announced. Oh wait, I know we're talking about Obi-Wan and Fortnite.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Let's see if we
can bring up Fortnite in every podcast.
Wait, hold on. I don't know about that one. Really quick, I did see that. I know this isn't related to the topic today, but I did see that Bad Batch trailer.
Yeah,
I was looking fire. I'm definitely inspired to go back because I didn't even know there was a season 1, so I'm definitely inspired to go back and watch it.
Yeah, it did look really good. I'm looking up some info on the show. I'm curious to see what the budget was for. So we're talking Obi-Wan Kenobi, the first 2 episodes that came out today. I'm trying to see if I want to see the difference between the budgets for all these other shows. I don't know if it'll tell me though. 25 million per episode.
Okay, yeah.
Will likely have a huge budget. Oh, these are just rumors. Let's see.
I mean, it would make sense if they put a little more towards it, because
similarly, Mandalorian had a reported 15 million per episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, if they're pulling that number for Mando, they're definitely gonna shell out for Obi-Wan.
And it definitely feels like it too. It feels like this show has probably the highest budget out of any of the other Star Wars TV shows they've done so far.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of. Well, we can talk about it once we go into it more. So,
yeah, this will be a quick one, not too long. Oh my god, this light is bright on me. So yeah, we're talking some Wars of the Stars in the stars. Welcome back to the Noble Pod. This is episode ? I have no idea because I haven't seen you on forever. Although quick housekeeping, I'm gonna set up that Patreon a little more cleanly. So if you do want to subscribe to the Patreon and get these video episodes, I will definitely get you that, my boys.
Yeah.
We are also housekeeping. We are also changing the format of this show. It's going to be a little less dense of like me going into every single part of the plot. And instead, we're going to just try to keep it a little lighter and go throughout the more important scenes.
Because we want to give credit to the viewers, where we're pretty sure if you're clicking on this, you're kind of familiar with the content we're talking about, So it's kind of just an outside perspective of things instead of us giving you the play-by-play, word by word.
And even if you don't, I'll try to make it as in-depth as I can so you do get the full extent without having to actually watch it if that's what you prefer as well.
Like a good audiobook. I like that voice of yours. Need that audiobook.
Thanks, man.
That goes down an octave.
These are not the droids you're looking for. Hold on, let me close my Tinder app real quick.
This guy.
No, I'm just kidding.
He said during every podcast I swipe right at least 5 times.
Just for good luck. Today's the last day to submit music for. Okay, what the fuck? Just my label texting me. Sorry about that. Trying to get me on some festivals and shit. All right, so Obi-Wan Kenobi, the first 2 episodes did come out on Disney Plus. What did you muff think?
We got a lot to talk about here in terms of what goes down and how it goes down. But
Huh?
I'm gonna say right now, need to
Huh?
watch.
Oh,
It's a need to watch. Hold on,
okay, okay,
listen.
okay.
It's a need to watch. Okay, it's something that you
Linda,
definitely
listen.
need to. Linda, listen. You need to experience it. Your personal feelings against it, I'm not going to try to dictate, I'm not going to try to sway. I'm just going to say this is a show you need to watch so that you can get that opinion. Don't listen to BS, don't listen to other people. Watch it yourself and form your own opinions, because I believe the show is good. The show is good. It just has frustrating moments. That's all I'm going to say, and that's my personal view, but this is a good show.
Okay, okay. Now you asked me.
What's up?
You asked me what I think of the show.
Oh, yes.
No,
Okay.
ask me.
Sorry about that. So, Daddy P17,
Uh-huh.
what do you, what do you, what do you think of Kenobi?
Ew, your deodorant.
I mean, it's got the cap. I don't know.
I don't want to speak in need.
All right, I'm on.
This
What
show
do you think of Kenobi?
This show is fucking great. This is one of the best Star Wars shows I've seen this is probably the best Star Wars show I've seen in my opinion. I have not seen the animated show, but for as of live action Star Wars content, this is probably some of the best shit they've put out in a while. And the last thing that I think, in my opinion, matches up to this, in my opinion, although Boba Fett was good, but it just kind of it's still
like fluff or what? Well, where are we going with that one?
No, it's Boba Fett was good, but Boba Fett's like under this one for TV shows, but it wasn't as good as this.
So where you what okay, so before we get into the meat and potatoes, what's your 3 ratings for this? We got Mando, we got Boba, and we got Obi.
I'm gonna say this one just from these two episodes. Obi-Wan first, then Boba Fett, then Mandalorian.
Yeesh. Okay. Damn,
I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't
pushed Mando at the bottom.
I wasn't a big fan of Mandalorian. I think part of it was because there was different writers and different directors for each episode. For like they would have like one writer for 2 episodes, and the next episode would be a different person, and it just felt like all over the place.
Okay,
and like
no, I can see that.
There was some episodes in Mandalorian where I was like, "Oh my god, this episode's fucking dope! Like this is a great episode." And then it would go next, and it would just be like,
okay. This episode's whack. Yeah, I get you. Okay.
But this show's fucking Obi-Wan is fucking great. And like I said, so we were looking at the budget. The budget for this was reportedly rumored 25 million per episode, which is a step up from Mandalorian's 15 million. And it definitely shows. You can tell the difference. Like I'm watching this Obi-Wan show, and I'm like, dude, this is like movie quality. The first scene that it opens up with is like fucking like I thought I was watching a movie. I thought it was a Star Wars movie.
I wasn't expecting that, like it just we'll talk about, like, we'll go by it with the step by step, but I'm just saying, like, even opening up, it's not something you expect. It's not something you're like, oh, I can't wait to see this show and then see that.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. Let's go through the cast real quick. Are you aware of the cast?
I mean, obviously you got Ewan McGregor, but let's talk. I mean, you got some of the original Star Wars actors too, like King Bale and stuff like that. So
you have Hayden Christensen, obviously. You don't really see him though, but he plays Anakin. Well, you see him in like they do a flashbacks or whatever in the beginning. What is that called? What is that called when they do the in the
recap?
intro? Yeah, the recap.
Yeah, it's recap of like the series.
They did a prequel recap in the first episode.
Wait, hold up. Quick question, just because I'm curious. Do you think Samuel Jackson got paid for that recap for 2 seconds?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's kind of like they already gave him his money, and like
once he signed off on it,
he just owes them. They kind of own his character.
That makes sense.
I mean, who knows? Maybe they gave him a little cut. Although shout out to Samuel, he does say that he wants to come back and reprise his role as Mace Windu somehow.
Wait, didn't you tell me? Weren't you the one who, like, a long ass time ago was like, Mace Windu's not dead? I know he's not.
No, but I'll stand by that. Mace Windu is not dead. He
got thrown from like a 30-story window. So...
Nah, he caught himself when he was flying out.
He caught himself.
He caught himself on the building on one of
Flipped
the
onto a
lower,
speeder real quick.
flipped on his speeder and dipped out. He's like, "Fuck this! This is too
Yeah,
dangerous."
I'm out of you, dude.
He's like, "I got a family."
He said they shooting lightning and shit. I'm out.
Hayden Christensen, Anakin, Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obviously, great to see both of them come back. It wouldn't have been the same without them, obviously. And then you got Rupert Friend as the Grand Inquisitor. You got Moses Ingram as Reva. You have Joel Egerton as Owen, and then you have Sung Kang as the fifth brother.
Yeah. I honestly like looking at the
That's fucking Han.
the dark side now. That's crazy.
That's
fucking
Han.
Han, my guy.
That's Han from the Fast and Furious.
That's crazy.
And then you have Kumail as Haja. And then I was looking at this other cast, bro, and you got Ice Cube and his son in here at some point of this show.
Wait, what?
I know. If you just type in Obi-Wan Kenobi cast on Google, fucking Ice Cube and his son show up, but they're not listed as any. They don't have character names. Their pictures are just there, so they're gonna show up at some point in the show.
What the? Oh, you know, dude, they're gonna mess up their characters. They're gonna put them as some like junk ship traders or some shit.
Yeah, probably like somebody in the cities or something. Who knows? Hey, who knows? Maybe Ice Cube's gonna have a fucking lightsaber.
True. Hey, shout out to Kamali Nanjiani. I think Kumail. Yeah, I was like, I butchered that. I'm sorry, but Kumail did really good.
Yeah, he did.
I rewatched it a little and I'm like, all right, Kumail. All right, Kumail. All right. At first, we'll go.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, it's a decent cast, honestly, and I'm sure they're still gonna add in more characters. If not this season, the next season for sure. But yeah, we can jump into the quick plots of episode 1 and 2. So it was only episode 1 and 2 that they put out. I think they put it out early too. I think it was supposed to drop a little later, and they're like, you know what, we're dropping it a couple days early. Like, fuck it, let's go.
I mean, hey, when everyone was hyped about it, they probably did it so they could catch up on the deal with Fortnite. You know, Fortnite couldn't release that skin, and then they not deliver. You know,
they had a whole Star Wars Day celebration and convention and thing.
Was it the Revenge of the Fifth or whatever?
I'm not sure. But so yeah, they put out episode 1 and 2. So we'll recap both of those for now, and then I think it's gonna be consequently 1 episode per week. I think, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm so used to binge culture now that I'm like, yeah.
I like that. Honestly, a lot of shows are going back to that 1 episode per week thing.
I mean, that is good. It builds hype, it builds suspension, it builds discussion amongst the community. So it's always good. It's just as of like lately, you know, binge culture has just been the way. So it's like,
I think it's
I gotta wait.
I think spoiled. Yeah, Netflix definitely like did that, like started the whole binge culture thing, but I think it's a lot smarter for them to do it episode by episode. One, just because like it keeps the company's name in people's like if you just binge watch a show, then you're done with Netflix, and like you binge watch it in a week, you're not going to go back to Netflix for something else, so you don't really care about it. But if it comes out every week, then you're like, oh shit, Netflix has another episode coming out, so you're going back to their platform every week. Definitely. It's a smart business move. But let's get into let's just go into the plot. Yeah,
go for it.
All right, so first off, the intro. The intro is dope. You know what I'm talking about? The where it flashes, the red and the blue flashes.
Are we talking about the exit? Oh, you're talking about like when it goes through the history of all the characters and stuff?
Like, no, just like for the title card.
Yeah. It's like Lucasfilms or LucasArts, and then it goes into the Kenobi. Yeah, definitely.
Let me just play you this. Let me just play you this music. How it starts off. Hold on. So I'm on Disney Plus. I can't show. I'm gonna get banned. But here, let me skip this recap. Just.
Yeah.
And then it has that the flashes of the. Fucking great. You know what I'm saying?
Fucking great. They started doing that When did they start that? Wasn't that when they started Mando? Isn't that when they
I
started
think I
actually
think
doing?
so. I think so. But the intro is fucking great. It
No, it is
just
good.
it just gets you hype. It's like, damn, it's like, all right, I'm in this. Um, and I really like the little flashes over the accents over the droids, R2D2 and C3PO and stuff, Vader.
BB-8 and all that. Yeah.
Um, so the intro comes in, and then right after that, it goes into the recap, the prequel recap, and it starts off with footage from all the different prequels, all three prequels. It starts off with the first, Phantom Menace, then it goes into what is it, Attack of the Clones or Clone Wars? Attack of the Clones, right? What's episode 2?
Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, Attack of the Clones. So it starts off footage with Phantom Menace, Anakin, he's a little kid, he's like in the pod, speeder. And it just goes through the whole story, and it's kind of getting you caught up to the events of where the show is going to start off, because and it's actually a really good recap. I was telling you that it made me it whoever edited that recap did a fucking great job, because
Oh, they got paid for
just the
sure.
sound design behind it, it had notes of like different themes of the show, but it was also very just like original, and it was just like strings and stuff. And it was like just the different clips that they threw in there, it was just all so perfect, and it got you so hyped to be like even if you've never seen these movies, you could watch just that recap and be like, okay, I understand what's going on.
You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force. You believe it's this boy?
So yeah, it goes through all three films leading up to when Anakin becomes Vader, and then when Luke and Leia get adopted. Music is lit, makes the prequels seem dope. It honestly made me want to go back and watch the prequels after watching that recap.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground! You underestimate my power! You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them!
And it definitely gets you ready to watch the show. Right after that, it goes into the first scene of this Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which is where it starts off with some younglings, and they're training with a Jedi named Velty, and she's just teaching him moves and stuff. And then out of nowhere, literally within like 3 seconds, out of nowhere, the doors open up, and then just these stormtroopers just bust in. They just start blasting these clone troopers. Just they just bust in. They just start blasting all at these kids and this Jedi.
She handles it, dude. She kills it.
Yeah, and it's only her. It's only Velty, and she has a green lightsaber, and there's like 6 other kids right there. So she has to protect like 6 kids, and she takes out all these fucking troopers. They go down the hallway. She takes out more. She's basically like, she just fighting all these troopers on her own, and she's trying to protect these kids at the same time. It's basically a what do you call it? A guided mission. What do you call it?
Wait, what do you mean? Oh, it becomes an escort mission?
Yeah, it's an escort mission where she has to escort fucking 8 little younglings while she's fucking getting shot at the whole time.
Dude, she got the hardest mission. That shit, like, what
I
the?
know.
And
And
she still killed it. She's a badass.
and so she ends up going into like a big hall, and that's where she tries her best, but she unfortunately cannot hold them all off, and she ends up dying. She gets shot right in the chest. She ends up falling, and then the younglings are just they look at each other and they're like, and one of them says, well, what do we do now? And then another one just looks at them and it's like, we run.
What do we do now? We run.
And they just take off and they run. In my opinion, if I was one of those younglings, I would have been like, all right, bro, you get that lightsaber right there, pick up Velty's lightsaber, you get that blaster over there, and like, come on, man, you just gonna run? Like, good luck, you're fish food, man.
You would have loved to seen it, bro, but They're kids, bro. Like their
Nah,
masters are
they're
dying,
Jedi.
bro. Their
They're Jedi
masters are dying,
younglings.
bro. They're
You,
basically their parents are dying, like right
nah,
in front of their
you
eyes,
you got to
bro.
pick up a saber or something. Y'all kids are just fish food. Good luck. Couldn't be me. I would have picked up the blaster or something. Uh,
It's no, it's small flames versus like the volcano of evil, you
hey
know.
man, toothpicks to stone walls. That's what we do over here.
I wish, bro. I wish, but the same shadow of the Colossus.
Hey, wouldn't that be hard though? Like if the kids started just fighting some of those troopers and just start cutting them in half and stuff.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, but
it
not
would have been
everybody,
it would have
you
been out of
know.
character
It
though.
would have. They're like 6-year-old, dude.
So this personally was my favorite scene in this whole show, in these whole 2 episodes so far. This first scene.
Yeah,
Like I
honestly, the production, you know, the sound, like you said,
yeah,
everything about it, they just
it,
went full in,
it felt
100%.
it felt like a movie. It felt like a scene out of a Star Wars movie.
Oh yeah,
And I was like, damn, this I was like, as soon as I
this is a
saw this,
deleted scene right here.
I was
Right.
like, holy shit. I was like, this is a great ass scene. Um, just everything, the camera work, the lighting, the fucking
The
the film
direction of it
grain,
all, the
the direction,
tension, you know.
everything was just great. So yeah, this is probably my favorite scene out of the whole show. Next, it goes to Tatooine, and you meet third sister Reva, you meet Grand Inquisitor, and you meet the fifth brother. They show up and they're getting basically their ship flies. They land on Tatooine and they walk off. And this is when they walk into the bar. This is the bar scene. So they go into a bar. They're looking for a Jedi, and basically they go up to the bartender and they're just like, Grand Inquisitor's talking. He's like, "What do you think about the Grand Inquisitor?" He looked like a wannabe Gore, the God Butcher.
I mean, yeah, but like, I don't know. It's hard to establish like the evilest like MFer, you know. It's hard to establish that in 2 minutes or so. So to me, he just looked kind of goofy for a second, like
Yeah, the
like thinking he had all the sauce, but like you
the
don't know
Sith
his
are
skills or nothing.
the Sith are always like they always get that white skin stuff once they start getting all evil.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
Anakin's a different story, but like, yeah, but Palpatine's just a raisin. Don't worry about it.
they all turn like white. It's like the life just drains out of them.
That honestly is
Um,
probably why that happened. Let me check. Keep going. I'm gonna check that.
so they show up, they walk into the bar, and the Grand Inquisitor goes up to the bartender. He basically tells them, we're hunting. He's like, you know who we are? Dude's like, yeah, you're Inquisitors. And he's like, you know what we do? He's like, you hunt Jedi. And he's like, exactly. He's like, and rumors spread fast. He's like, there's a rumor that there's a Jedi here. He helped you out, saved your bar at one point. Now you're hiding him, and we are looking for this Jedi. Um, and then the guy says something. The guy says something like, when he says, you know what we do? He says, you hunt Jedi. And then the Grand Inquisitor looks at him and he's like, actually, I would say that the Jedi hunt themselves.
You know what we do?
You hunt Jedi.
In actuality, I would say the Jedi hunt themselves.
And they play that line twice throughout both episodes. I'm not really sure what he meant by that. I was kind of confused. I was like, what do you mean? Like, they're not hunting themselves. I don't.
So turning back onto or like rewinding back a little bit about like the skin and like why that happens. Apparently, exposure to the dark side
Uh-huh.
is like it's essentially like setting your cells on fire. It's you communing with like the unnatural forces of the world. So
Mm,
you're becoming more unfamiliar to human standards,
mm,
right? You're embracing the evil. And so it's kind of like it's making you like the force itself is turning you into like an unacceptable part of society as
mm-hmm,
a means to kind of continue that reflection of like isolation, anger, blah 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 blah. A lot of people think it's just because when you use like the lightning or things like that, it's just burning your skin and it's just kind
mm,
of leaving you drained and all that, like lizard like. But a lot of interpretation, nothing too solidified. But I do enjoy the theory that it makes you more unnatural to like the
mm-hmm.
common, you know, the force, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. So basically, the more pale you are, the more evil you are. That's how you know.
Exactly. And that's why, and that's no, honestly, and that's why, like, there's this huge, well, there was one example exactly where it was like, if you remember the Attack of the Clones, Palpatine's doing his thing, and then Mace Windu comes in, and he's still, Palpatine's old, but he's not like decrepit yet. But then
Mhm.
he uses his like lightning, and then he becomes decrepit, right? Then
Mhm.
his skin like sags, and people are saying that's because that's just how strong Mace Windu was. Palpatine needed to
Hey,
go all out.
that's kind of
So
hard. Shout out
I
to Mace
like
Windu
that's what
once
I'm saying.
again.
I like that theory. So if I'm wrong, someone in the comments, please. But
The shout out to Mace Windu, the only purple saber in the entire series, entire universe.
hey,
What the fuck? That's crazy.
Samuel
Um,
Samuel Jackson went to the god of Star Wars and said, "Hey, give me that."
so he said the Jedi hunt themselves. I'm not really sure what he meant by that. I don't know if you have an interpretation for that.
um,
To me, that was kind of a dumb line. I was like, no, they're not.
it's
You're hunting them. Like, and you're
it's
not a Jedi. I think he was trying to be like smart, but it like just
yeah.
came off kind
It
of like,
sounds like a superior villain line where in and of itself, it's like you going into hiding just exposes you more type shit.
yeah.
Like
I see what he was getting at. I just thought it was kind of a dumb line.
that.
I just
Yeah,
wanted to nitpick.
agreed. No, I agree.
Um,
I think there's a lot of dumb lines in the show. I'm gonna say that much.
there's some questionable lines. Everything can't be 100%. And it's only the pilot, the first episode.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It is a must need to watch. Like you need to watch this. But personal, I got some issues.
They've Reva gets tired of him talking to the bartender. She ends up just grabbing a knife off the table and she fucking throws it at the dude. And the Jedi sit in the back and he stops it with the force.
His undoing.
There.
And obviously it's like, all right, motherfucker, it's you. So they found the Jedi. They pull him. He runs. He tries to get away, run out of the bar. Rev ends up doing like a little dodge roll, and she like pulls out her lightsaber and she stops him. And then the Grand Inquisitor says something. He's like, you'll never get all of us. And then Reva picks up her lightsaber and she's about to slice him, and she like slices him right, gets to his shoulder, and then the Grand Inquisitor like stops her, and then she just like lightly burns his shoulder. He's like,
Chopping
fuck.
lightsabers with the Force. That would be nice.
And
It's a
then
nice ability to have.
and then yeah, he says something else, and then he just runs away, or he ends up pushing the Inquisitor ends up pushing Reva to the side, and that's when it gives like the Jedi a little bit of time to run away. So he ends up running out. He throws the top of the bar down, and then he ends up running. After that, it cuts to Obi-Wan. This is the first time you see Obi-Wan in this episode.
We don't know it's Obi-Wan. It's not immediate that it's Obi-Wan.
Okay, well,
we get this like very sad scenic shot of like the meat plant,
yeah,
marble plant. What is this? I don't even know.
It's like a giant fish, and it's like a fish harvesting site.
Okay.
So basically they're just cutting out all this, like some fish died in the sand, and it's their job to just scoop out all the meat and sell it. So yeah, it cuts to like this fish harvesting plant. Obi-Wan's he's just working. He's just doing an honest day's job, honest day's work. He ends up going to, yeah, so it shows him and a bunch of other workers. They're just cutting up all this fish, and he cuts a little piece off for himself or for his pet, his little emu or whatever he has,
caribou thing.
And then he ends up like hiding that, and then it's time for them to go home, clock out. They all clock out. One dude in front of him clocks out, and he's like, this is it, this is half than what it was last time. And the guard there, he's like, shut your mouth and I'm gonna take it all. And he's like, I have a family. And he just like punches him in the chest, and the old man's like, oh. and then he like walks away, and then Obi-Wan walks up, and then like he looks at him, and the dude's like, what? He's like, you got something to say? And then Obi-Wan just looks at him. He like kind of pauses, and he thinks about it for a second too. He's like, I do, but I don't.
Please, I have a family. One more word, I take it all. Keep moving. Something you want to say?
And then he just clocks out and he leaves.
Chop that man in half. He's evil.
So after that, he goes home. He lives in a cave nearby Luke, so he can watch over him safely. It's like a guardian angel type figure. He has an interaction with a Jawa named Tika, and this is a kind of a funny scene.
So, really quick, do you think it genuinely is in the spirit of protecting Luke, or do you think it's in the spirit of I might have to handle Luke one day?
No, I think it's in protecting because later when he's talking to Owen, he says they had the dialogue about where he's like, stay away. And he's like, you're not here to protect him. You're here to see if he's showing or not. And then if he's showing signs of Jedi. And then Obi-Wan says, he says, well, yeah, we had this conversation. We had this conversation about that when it's time for him and he starts showing signs that he needs to be trained. And so he's there. So when Luke starts becoming a Jedi, he can train him.
Keep going. Sorry.
I mean, there's possibility. I see what you're saying because, like, obviously his dad,
like he's got, like, we see in this part that you're talking about. You know, it's nighttime, and we see Kenobi has his PT. Like,
yeah, this is right before. This is when he's talking to Tika, the Jawa.
okay. Right.
So he's talking to Tika, the Jawa. I thought it was a little funny scene, just where he's trying to get this little spaceship thing, and he's trying to buy that for Luke.
It kind of reminds me of, you know, the original trilogy, because I'm pretty sure Obi-Wan does have some moments with the Jawa as well, right? In that one, like he has a traitor discussion. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, hold on a second.
So it gave me like a little bit of nostalgia for that. I might fall in love with it. Who knows?
All right, I fucking paid you your money, Zoom. Eat my nuts.
Whoa! They immediately just cancel everything and shut off the stream. They're like, yeah, we're always
Like
listening.
That. So yeah, it was a funny scene where he's buying this little space toy, this little ship toy for Luke, and then he also, like, while he's buying that, his evaporator goes out or something in his little cave goes out,
like his air conditioning unit or something.
And and then he's like seems like my evaporator's out, and then he's like, or no, Tika the Jawa says like, oh, something wrong with your thing, and he's like, yeah.
He's all, you're in luck, bro. I just got this.
he's like I'm missing a motherboard or something, and then Tika's like, hey, wait, hold up, and he like pulls it out, and then Obi-Wan's just like, he's like, you know what, Tika, I'd really appreciate it if, like, you would stop stealing stuff just to sell it back to me. And then Tika starts laughing. He's like, hey man, I gotta feed my family or whatever. And then he was like, and he like shows it to him. He's like, you could at least clean the parts when you sell them back to me. And then Tika's like, he's like, cleaning costs extra. And Obi-Wan's just like, what the fuck?
Tika be making money, bro. Tika be scamming people.
Straight up, just stole a part out of your house and then sell it back to you.
That's rough.
Yes, I had some parts stolen. I need a new processor board. Tika, if you're going to steal my parts and then sell them back to me, could you at least clean them first, as a courtesy?
So I thought that was a funny scene. After that, that's when it cuts to Obi-Wan. He's sleeping. He's having nightmares about the prequels. Me too, Obi-Wan. Me too. I also have nightmares about the prequels. Insert Jar Jar Binks.
Misha.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, he's having nightmares about the events of Anakin and Qui-Gon dying and all this stuff.
You were the chosen one, Anakin.
He wakes up in a sweat, like calling for Qui-Gon or something like that. And then whatever. After that, he gets confronted. That's when it goes to the night scene where he's looking over Luke with his night vision goggles, and he's just making sure he's all safe and everything, and Owen's family's safe. He leaves, and then he gets confronted by the Jedi from the bar, which is named Nari. And Nari's basically saying, like, he's like, Master, I've been looking for you. Like we need to do something. We need help. Like I can't. I'm scared. I can't be doing this alone. Like they're gonna get me soon. And Obi-Wan basically tells him, he's like, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm just some dude. And then he's like,
guy.
he's like, I know it's you. I know it's you're Obi-Wan Kenobi, whatever. And then he's like, he finally gets down off his little animal, whatever, his little emu. And then he's like, all right, man. He's like, you know what I suggest? He's like, run away and fucking just never come back. And basically this dude's like, what are you talking about? He's like, what about the fight? Like, what about the people that need us? And
Powerful line.
he's like, the fight is done. And he's like, we lost. And he's like, my suggestion is take this lightsaber that you're holding, go to the middle of the fucking desert and bury that shit there and never come back. And then the dude's just like, what the fuck? Like, this is not what I expected to get from talking to you.
They're hunting me. You have to help me.
You want my help? Take this. Walk into the middle of the desert and bury it in the ground. Stay hidden.
And then he ends up leaving and he's like, I'm sorry, I can't do anything for you. He ends up leaving. Going back to your point about Luke, him watching over him. I see what you're saying about like where obviously he might have like some PTSD where like he's like, yeah, I raised your father and
I know that it's just gonna end the same. You know?
He turned out to be bad and like, yeah, maybe he is watching over him just to make sure. Maybe instead though, he wants to be super uber present in his life to make sure that it doesn't happen this time. Maybe he's like gonna course correct it. And he's gonna do that through Luke. After that, it cuts to Leia on Alderaan, and she's supposed to be getting ready for dinner party. She's getting like all dressed up in like a little princess outfit or whatever, and then the mom walks in, and then turns out, oh, actually not Leia, some other little girl got get parent trapped or
get
whatever.
Fricked.
Get fricked. Where are you? And then she ends up running into the woods. That's like her little safe space where whenever she like just gets all anxious or whatever, she's feeling like she just needs to get out, get some air, she runs out into the woods. She sits in the tree with her little bot, Lola.
Little butterfly bot, Lola.
And she's just sitting there and she is sitting in a tree and she like watches all these ships go by and she's just like, oh, it looks like that's a Anquillian cargo ship or whatever. They're probably,
that seems cool. I like that. I like the little part.
And she's just
they're
naming
probably
off
looking for pirates, you know.
Yeah, they're probably looking for pirates.
That's a new one. Untitled Ranger, probably scouting for Mersan pirates. No? Trader maybe?
Leia Organa.
And then she's just naming off these different things. Mom ends up showing up and her mom's like, what are you doing? Like, we have a dinner party to go to, you know that. And then she's like, yeah, but I don't want to go to that bougie ass shit. Like, fuck that. Y'all are whack.
Y'all are whack.
And then she ends up getting out of the tree. She gets her grounded. Basically, she's like, turn off Lola. You can't use Lola for the rest of the day. And she's like, you need to go get ready.
You're not even a real mom. No, I'm just kidding.
And then she says something like, she's like, you know, if you were good at climbing trees as much as you were as hiding or running away or something, like you'd be a senator already. And then she's like, but I don't want to be a senator. She's like, all I do is wave. Like when I go to, she's like, nobody wouldn't even notice if I was gone. She's like, all I do is wave. And she's like, well, then do more than wave. Like what you get out of this is what you put into it type thing. Yep. So it's all up to you. And which I thought it was kind of interesting. Just with perspective, like it is kind of true. Like as a kid, you think all these things are like, this is a bunch of bullshit that I don't want to go through. But it truly is like what you put into is what you get out of it. So like you can be the difference. You can, if she really wanted to make a difference and change the system, she could actively try to do that. But she doesn't understand that yet because she's only a kid. But as she gets older, you see that she does, and she actually does make a difference. So she ends up stealing. She tells her mom, "I'm sorry." She gives her a hug, and then she ends up taking Lola back, and she's like, "What the fuck?" She's like, "You're a little brat." And then they end up walking away, and she says something like, "She's like, living here is like living in prison." And then I just thought it was funny because like the juxtaposition between Leia on Alderaan living a princess life compared to Luke, who's playing with fucking mud and sticks. is like, and she's saying like this is a prison, and Luke's literally over here eating dirt and shit, and like it's so fucked up.
It's like living in a prison.
I was like, all right, like it's just kind of funny. Um, cuts to Owen.
Eating dirt.
Maz is playing with rocks.
I
And
get
sticks.
it. I get it. It's just
And she's
funny.
like, this is a prison over here. She's
That
living
sucks.
fucking
They might be my
princess
real
life.
parents.
Cuts to Owen showing up to Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's working again. He goes home. Then Owen shows up and he's in the city. He tells them basically to leave them alone. Oh, he takes the little toy, the little speeder toy that he gave him or whatever. And he's like, you need to leave us alone. Like you can't keep showing up and like letting Luke know that you can't be part of his life, basically.
Basically, yeah.
And that's when they have the whole dialogue where he says something like, Luke needs to know that there's more to this life and there's more to his destiny than just what he knows now, that there's more to this world. And Owen's like, no, he doesn't need to know that stuff. He's like, are you really here to protect him, or are you just here to see if he's showing signs? And basically he's saying, and that's when Obi-Wan says like, yeah, well, we had this discussion that when he starts showing signs of Jedi, that's when he needs to be trained so he can control it. And Owen's like, nah, get out of here. Like, don't show up again. That's when Reva shows up and she starts screaming at everybody in the courtyard. And she's like, where's the motherfucking Jedi at?
So just for context, Reva is third sister.
She is third sister.
And then she comes in with Han, and Han is fifth brother.
Fifth brother. Yeah.
Okay.
Not really sure what that means.
Apparently that's more so. Yeah, it's like a tier system in their rankings, but it's more so revealed in Fallen Order. So I actually thought you were gonna have more knowledge on that.
They don't really go into it too much.
Oh, okay. I just know those are your main enemies.
Yeah, the second sister is who you fight in, but I don't know if there's like multiple second sisters and third sisters within like different trees, or
I'm
if
gonna look that up. You keep going.
Yeah, Reva shows up. And then she's basically telling everybody, hey, we're looking for that fucking Jedi that we saw in the bar. Y'all know who we're talking about. Y'all were there. You saw him run away and us try to kill him last time. Where is this dude at? If we don't get any answers, people are going to start dying. Some random lady in the courtyard. She's like, you don't have any jurisdiction here. You're not even supposed to be here. Reva looks at her. She's like, what'd you say, bitch? She looks at her. She takes out her lightsaber and just cuts off this lady's hand.
This is the Outer Rim. You have no rights here. We're not under the Empire's...
And the lady's just like, she starts screaming, her hands on the floor. Obviously, you know, Star Wars has a fetish about cutting people's hands off. It's been seen multiple times. Reva starts saying something like, oh, there was an important line that I think was pretty telling, where Reva's trying to find the Jedi, right?
Yeah.
And she says something like,
well, specifically Reva's trying to find Kenobi, and even though they've tried to like dissuade her from it in the very beginning, she's still like, well, she's still bubbling, you know.
She's trying to find Kenobi, but she's also trying to find Nari, the Lord dude that they're looking for. But she says a line where I thought it was pretty telling about, like, I don't know if you noticed it, but she says, she's basically telling that they need to give up this information about the Jedi. And she says, the Jedi abandon you. She's like, they don't care about you. They'll leave you just like they left everyone else.
Okay, so that line earlier about the Jedi hunting themselves, that actually pertains to what the Inquisitors are, because the Inquisitors were Jedi found during the Order of 66 and trained specifically by Darth Vader to hunt other Jedis. And the rankings is kind of irrelevant, and then sister brother just pertains to, you know, gender and stuff. But
so, and that's where the theory comes in, where Reva is, I think Reva is one of the little kids from the first scene, and she was saved by Vader, and she was trained to be an Inquisitor like all the other ones. But yeah, she says the Jedi abandon you. They don't care about you. They'll leave you just like they left everyone else. Something like that. And I thought it was kind of telling to like to prove that like, yeah, like they were Jedi before, and like they harbor this hate against the Jedi, and they feel like they were abandoned by the Jedi, when in reality it's like the Empire was just going around killing everybody and they didn't really have anybody to save them. So Vader ends up taking those kids in and saving them himself, and that's how they get turned into the dark, on the dark side. Next is a dinner party. Leia dunks on that little shit kid.
So yeah, there's the political dinner party. Leia
Yeah.
clearly don't want to be there. She sees, she sees other people, including her cousin, who she's trying to like be nice to, because she's
Yeah.
trying, right? But
Yeah.
her cousin's such a shit. Like,
So
fuck that little
basically
kid.
she gets mad at him because like a droid comes up, one of the 3PO droids comes up, like Yo, I think the name was.
Yeah,
And
and Leia's like, thank you.
yeah, she gives him a drink. She gives her a drink, and then Leia's like, "Thank you so much." And then like her little cousin, whatever, he's like, "Oh, you thank droids? Like,
You're fucking gross.
like you're stupid. Why are you thanking a droid? You don't have to thank them." And then she's like, she says something like, he's like, "You don't need to." She's like, "It's called manners." And he's like, "You don't have to have manners." And she's like, "Well, in that case, I shouldn't be nice to you then."
Yeah, she said, or he says, you don't have to have manners when addressing lower life forms, or
Yeah.
some shit like that. And you're like, what?
And and she's like, "Well, in that case, I shouldn't be nice to you."
Liz? Oh, thanks, Yo.
My pleasure.
You think you're droids?
It's good manners.
You don't need manners when you're talking to a lower life form.
Then I guess I don't need manners when I'm talking to you.
And then she straight dunks. She straight dunks on this kid this entire scene, where she's like, you know what you are? You're scared because you're never gonna be like your dad, and you're just a fucking little scared little shit boy.
Okay, so in this moment, do you think that's just Leia being wise, or do you think that's Leia somehow using her Force connection to like read this dude's mind?
No, I think it's just her being just a little, I think she's just smart.
Wise little shit.
She's just a smart kid, and she notices stuff.
I feel that.
She talks to her dad, notices this. She ends up running away. She goes to her room. Her dad shows up. He ends up telling her, "Come on, like you have to apologize. Like you can't be doing this stuff. Like you're senator's princess, like, or senator's daughter. You have to be more civilized, blah 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 blah." She's like, "Well, this guy was being a little fuckhead, and like it's not cool." And then she starts saying where the kid was even telling her like, you're not even really part of this family, like you were adopted.
This is
Like
a good scene from Bill, for sure.
like, you're not a real Olgin or whatever their last name is.
I'll look it up to correct, but it's fine.
And then so she mentions that to her dad, and then he's like, "What are you talking?" She's like, "Don't listen to them. Like you are part of this family. Like
Organa is the name.
Yeah, Organa. You are an Organa. Like you are part of this family. Blah blah blah." And he's like, "You just need to go apologize. And even if you don't want to, you have to." She's like, "Okay, fine." And then he's like, "Okay, good." He walks down, sees his wife again. He's like, "I think I really got through to her." And then it ends up she just runs away back to the woods again.
She's gone.
I thought you said you really got through to her.
You know what she's like.
I know who she's like.
Send a unit. She can't be far.
And
well, he tells her, he's like, "I always had a dream, I wanted to live on the horizon and do that." And she's like, "Wow, that sounds so cool." And she just fucking runs, bro.
Wow, that's bye. And then so she runs back to the woods, and that's when you see some bounty hunters. And who is it? It is.
It's like Verk or something. Vert.
It's
like,
Vect.
whatever.
But do you know who that is?
I was gonna say that the actor honestly is super familiar. I couldn't recall it.
Dog, it's Flea. It's the bassist from Red Hot Chili Peppers. But he's also like, I was looking up his IMDb.
I knew I fucking seen him.
It's fucking Flea.
This motherfucker.
But
that's crazy.
But look up his IMDb, bro.
I got you,
like, put some respect on Flea's name.
All right, hold on. Let's give moment of appreciation for Flea. Actor, Baby Driver. Oh, he wasn't Baby Driver. Oh shit. Okay, you got
his credits are insane.
Oh shit, he wasn't back.
He was in Back to the Future 2 and 3.
Oh
Isn't
fuck,
that
he was in Big
wild?
Lebowski as well.
Bro, he's been
He's
in so much
tripping.
shit. He was in Inside Out, apparently.
Wait, what? Toy Story 4? What?
Yeah, dude, his
What
credits are
the?
crazy. Like
Played
put some
himself in Family Guy? What a
like
hardcore man.
like put some respect on Flea's name.
I will. I will.
So yeah.
Rugrats Go Wild? Wait, what?
So Flea's there and she runs into him and then she's like, can I help you? And he's like, yeah, we're actually looking for you. And then she's like, what the fuck? And then so they start chasing her and she somehow, there's like four bounty hunters that are chasing her, and somehow she just jukes all of them, when in reality they would have caught her in like 30 seconds.
Okay, so this is what I
Like she got little tiny legs, like they would have caught her in like,
clearly, it's a little girl against actual adults.
Yeah.
But in reality, we're supposed to believe that this is Leia's home turf. She's been
I
through
get
these
it,
woods
I get it.
millions of times. These dudes are chumps, and where do we go?
Yeah.
So it is a little unbelievable, especially when they all have her surrounded, and she's just like,
she's all
Again.
she's like sliding under logs and shit, and like
yeah.
jumping over sticks and stuff and bushes. And they can't get her, whatever.
I suspended a little bit of disbelief because it's necessary for that part, but yes, it the way it's shot makes it look a little goofy.
Yeah, it was a little goofy because like they're obviously running way slower. They're like barely jogging, and it's like, bro, just go get this. Just
and Leia's like, get off me, man.
For real. So she ends up. Some of the guards end up going to save her, but they end up shooting the guards. And then basically she's just like, fuck, she can't do anything. She gets surrounded. They end up abducting her. So basically they just roll up on her home planet and just steal this little girl. So Taken Part 5.
They were prepping for it because we saw that in the earlier scene where her mom went to the forest for her and they took her back, and you get this ominous shot, right? It's just like burn, burn, suspenseful music, and reality is just Flea. He's just sitting there.
So
but yeah.
So yeah, she gets abducted. After that, it cuts to Obi. He's in his cave. He gets this little blinking thing. This little what do you call it? A beeper?
So Obi-Wan's minding his own. He's just doing his thing around his house, whatever. And then it's like a beeper in some random box.
Yeah,
and
it
actually
all of his old
like
stuff.
It's like a holophone, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a hologram thing, and it's I don't know the names of the senator.
It's from King Bale, or Prince Bale, I think. Sorry, but yes,
Bale and
Leia's parents, basically.
Yeah, Leia's adopted parents, and they're just asking him like, hey, they're like, yo, Leia's been abducted. Like, we need you to come save her. You're the only one that we trust. You need to go get her. Blah blah blah. And Obi-Wan's basically like, he just tells him, he denies him, and he's like, no, I can't do it. He's like my I need to stay here for Luke. Like, you guys are the ones that are in charge of Leia, and like I'm in charge of Luke. Like, Luke has nobody else. Like, you guys have a whole fucking, you guys are senators. Like, you have a whole fucking guards and everything.
Armies and shit. He's like, I'm just a dude. Like,
I can't leave here, Bale. My duty is to the boy.
What about your duty to his sister? She's as important as he is.
And he's like, I'm not the same guy that I used to be. And they're like, you're the only one that we trust to do this. And he's like, I'm sorry, I can't do it. He hangs up. He shows up. It cuts back to him at work, and he goes back into the city, Tatooine, and he ends up seeing Nari, the Jedi from the bar I was talking to him before. Yeah, he was dead, and now he's hanging in the middle of the courtyard so everybody can see.
It's fucking rough.
And that's when Obi-Wan realizes, like, fuck, dude, like damn. And
I I mean, to be fair, Nari told him, Nari was like, we do, like, I'm not going to survive without you.
Yeah.
And Kenobi was like, okay, like, that's not my problem. Like,
Yeah, dude
okay.
was fucking scared for his life. He was like, bro, people are after me and they're gonna kill me. Obi-Wan was like, sorry, bud.
I'm trying to survive myself. Like, bro.
So yeah, just shows you how dangerous it is to be a Jedi in these parts.
But it also gives you the hold on. It also gives you the insight that, Kenobi, he can't, if he turns away again, it's probably going to happen to Leia. So that kind of gives him that push that he
Yeah.
needs to do this.
Yeah, it definitely kind of puts things in perspective for him where he's kind of like, shit, dude, maybe
It's
they're
like,
right.
I guess I'll get out of retirement.
It's another weight on his chest, definitely. Then after that, he goes back home, and that's when Bale shows up, and he's like standing in his cave, and he's like, we know where she's at. She's been taken to blah blah blah, blah and she's been taken by certain. And he's like, he's still trying to beg Obi-Wan, like, we need you to go get her. And they have another dialogue about why he can't do it. He's not the same guy. He gave up that life. And then they're kind of just arguing. Bale's like, I trust that you're going to be able to do this, whatever. After that, it cuts into Leia, or cuts into Reva. She's talking to Flea, and basically the whole abduction the whole abduction.
I think it's funny. Flea, just go ahead. Keep going.
The whole abduction of Leia was just basically all a trap for Obi-Wan, because Reva knew that Obi-Wan would go get her if
Reva looked in the archives, found some connection or something,
Yeah, so
You sure he's gonna come?
He fought beside her father during the war. He'll come. He won't be able to help it.
So the whole abduction wasn't just random or anything. It was specifically made for Obi-Wan.
Calculated.
After that, it cuts to him. He's walking into a desert. He walks in the middle of the desert, and he basically told Nari to do what he did. And you see him go dig up his old lightsaber. And
honestly, you would not find that thing ever again. Honestly,
he used the Force. He used the Force.
I understand, but in reality, you put anything in the
he's
thing,
connected
a week
to
later, it's gone. It's
he's
like a mile
connected.
away.
He's connected to the Kyber crystal. All right.
Kyber crystal. Let's go.
So yeah, he goes in the middle of the desert, just picks a random spot and scoops up his lightsaber, and he's like, all right, let's go. And then
hey, I will say the shot of the lightsaber,
yeah,
it proper. It was I liked it. It was very well done. It wasn't like boom money shot. It was very like nuanced and poised,
So yeah, after that, they goes back to the city, and they have a ship leaving to go to somewhere, I don't remember. And they're like, are you sure you don't want to come? And then Obi-Wan kind of looks at her, and he's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. So yeah, he boards the ship, and now he's gonna go save Leia. That's the end of episode 1.
That's yep.
Episode 2.
So they go to Dayu. That's
they go to Dayu.
The planet of scum and villain.
The planet of scum and villain, apparently. Based off the Star Wars wiki. Bro, have you gone on the Star Wars wiki? There's so much shit on there.
Well, yeah, because there's books and
there's so much expanded.
There's so many different mediums.
There's so much expanded universe stuff.
Dude, when you learn more about like the different types of Jedis and like
this might be
saber styles, you can go into it forever.
Star Wars might be one of the biggest universes created, I think, with including expanded, everything expanded.
That holds canonical content. Yes, definitely.
So episode 2 starts off with the ship flying into a planet.
Dayu.
Yeah, and the visuals. If you go back and just watch the intro of this episode, the visuals again are stunning, and it looks just like a movie shot.
I'm glad you brought it up, because one of my main points is that the contrast of worlds, like if you compare Tatooine to Leia's home planet in Alderaan, to Dayu, they're so distinct from one another that it's not hard to be like, oh yes, we're back here, I feel safe, you know. Oh, we're
Yeah.
back here, it's in the open. Like you can, you know what you're getting yourself into. And then especially with Dayu and everything, it feels so claustrophobic and like disgusting, you know, like just the contrast and the comparison,
But at the
visuals, aesthetic wise, it
but at
solidifies it really well.
but at the same time, like the worlds feel so fleshed out. They don't feel like some shows like Mandalorian. I was watching Mandalorian. I felt like, okay, this looks like a TV show set. It looks like a set that they're on. And this to me felt like it was like these feel like worlds, like they're actually in these worlds. So like you could just tell the quality was just up. They just fleshed out these sets a lot better, in my opinion.
I agree.
But yeah, the visuals are great. When he's flying into the first shot is the ship flying into Dayu. And like it goes through the clouds and you see the whole city skyline and everything. It's sick. So yeah, it's Obi shows up. Obi's finding Dayu. This one I'll go a little faster just because I took less notes, but this episode I didn't like as much as the first one.
Okay.
I thought it was a little slower, just a little. It was whatever. But
I think it's because that's kind of what I meant by like the slow openings. Is I feel like in the beginning it is very important. I'm not saying I don't agree with this, but I think it's very important that you need to establish your setting. You know, you need to establish where you're at and how to do it. I think taking 10 minutes to do it is a little long. That's how I'll word that.
Yeah, so basically Obi-Wan's just talking to a bunch of different people on the streets, and he says he's like, hey, I'm looking for my daughter. She's been taken. I know that she's here. I'm just trying to find him. He talks to different people. One guy's like, he's like, I don't know. He's like, this is where people come to hide their secrets, basically. And he's like, the planet Dayu, like, you're not going to get any information out of anybody. And then he keeps walking. He sees some kids on the streets. They're selling spice. They're selling spice from Doom.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Well, so he sees
a girl. He sees a little pink-haired girl, and he's like, hey, my daughter's been taken. Can you help me find her? And she's like, nah, but I got some spice for you. And then he's like, no, like, he's like, I'm trying to find my daughter, whatever. And she's like, yeah, she's like, if she's been taken here, you're not gonna find her. Like, she's gone. And then
I was somebody's daughter once.
Yeah, she says like, I was somebody's daughter once too.
Well, if she's here, you're never gonna see her again. Nobody leaves this place. I was someone's daughter once too.
And then she's like, she gives him a free, she's like, you know what, here, take this free jar of spice. Like, this one's on the house. And he's like, all right. She just like puts it in his pocket. After that, he turns around and it's a little kid, Jaco, I think his name was. And he's like, he hears them talking, and he turns around, he's like, hey, he's like, you need some information?
I heard you're looking for a Jedi.
Yeah, he's like, I heard you're looking for a Jedi. And he's like, I could take you to him.
Bro, as soon as I saw this kid, I was like, you're full of shit. I was like, go ahead.
And then he's like, and then Obi-Wan's like, he's like, what are you talking about? Like, all the Jedi are gone. Like, there's no, how do you know a Jedi? And he's like, trust me, I know one. And he's like, but he's like, for the right price, I can take you to him. And then Obi-Wan's like, all right, so whatever. He believes this little kid.
I guess, kid.
This kid was like, he reminded me of Echo from Arcane. Yeah, he had like Echo vibes.
You're right.
The Jedi are all gone.
I'll take you to him for the right price.
And so like he shows up in this like little warehouse thing, and it's Kumail, and he's sitting there and he's pretending to be a Jedi, and Obi-Wan's just watching him work, and he's sitting
Haraj Estri.
Yeah, Haraj Estri. And he's basically just, honestly, this shit was pretty funny. And like the dude's like, he has another friend on the line of his walkie-talkie, whatever, and he's like pretending to use mind control on this dude, and it's just a funny little back and forth. And he ends up getting the information or whatever. They have this whole little skit going where they trick this mom and this kid, and they're trying to get this mom and this kid out to another transport ship or something. And then after he does like his little tricks or whatever, his little con. The mom looks at him. She's like, wow, the force is so strong with you. And he's like, he looks at her and he's like, yeah, I know.
They'll be given safe passage to Corellia.
I'm not leaving your mind.
The force is so strong with you.
Yeah, I know. Use gate 3C.
And he's like, that'll be 100 credits or whatever. And she's like, yeah, and she like pays him. And then he's like, wow, really? He's like, I can't take all of this. You're so kind. And he's like, all right, so head to gate 3C or whatever.
We'll get you out of here to safety. We got you.
And then she's like, thank you so much. And then so she ends up leaving. And then that's when Obi-Wan walks in. He's just like, what the fuck? Like, this dude's so full of shit.
I like it. He just straight up rolls up with the blaster. He's like, tell me what I want to know, you know?
Yeah. Well, first he walks in, he's like, I heard you're a Jedi or whatever. I'm looking for a Jedi. And then dude gets scared. Kumail gets scared, and he's like, what the? He's like, how'd you get in here? And then he's like, I'm looking for a Jedi. I need to find my daughter. And then like Kumail's like, okay, another guy to con. So like he uses his magnets or whatever to close the side windows, and he just like force pushes them down or whatever. And then he like stands up. He's like, yeah, it's a dangerous game. He's like, I can tell you what you want to know, but you know, it's gonna be some credits. It's gonna cost you. And he's like, how much? And then he's like, I don't know, probably like 500. And he's like, what the? And he's like, if you give me 1,000, I can show you some Jedi tricks as well. And then Obi-Wan's just like, what the fuck? And that's when he pulls out the blaster. He's like, look, he's like, I know you're just full of fucking magnets and remotes. And he's like, this is some bullshit. And then Kumail's like, oh shit. He's like, who are you, a bounty hunter? He's like, no. He's like, he's like, look, I heard you got some information. I need you to help me. And then he's like, yeah, I can help you. And he's like, I kind of know some stuffs.
How'd you get in here?
A girl has been kidnapped. I need your help to find her.
I am Haja Estri, Jedi.
And then so after that, he takes him to the spice factory, and Obi-Wan breaks into the spice factory, and he uses, I think this is the first time you see him use the force.
That's why I'm kind of back and forth with you on the whole discussion of the use of the force here. But I think he uses his force to make an accident happen, you know.
He like looks at these, like they have a bunch of like Breaking Bad chemistry experiments going on where they're making drugs, and there's like this big test tube with a big beaker or something, and it's like full of this blue water, and then he just like looks at it and just like he starts boiling it, and then it explodes. And then the guard standing at the door walks away, and he tells everybody to go clean it up, whatever. And that's when Obi-Wan kind of slips into the back. Then he gets into the back part of the spice factory, the spice house, trap house, and then that's when you see
immediately caught by two dudes.
Oh yeah, he's walking in the hallways, and then two dudes show up, and they're like, hey, what are you doing here? And then he's like,
lost.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I got lost. My bad. And he's like, yeah, we'll get back to work. And then Obi-Wan like starts walking back.
Obi-Wan starts swinging, bro.
Yeah, he turns around, just like elbows one dude, just like punches out of it. They start fighting. They got a little CQC going on here.
Hey, what are you doing back here?
Oh, I seem to have lost my way.
Yeah, well, get back to work.
Right.
He beats up those two dudes, and then that's when he walks into a room. He sees like this doll or whatever, like this fake little figure with the hood on or whatever, and he thinks it's Leia, and he's like, Leia, I'm here. And then he uncovers it, and it's not, and it's just a trap, and Flea set that trap for him. And Flea walks in with his two guards, and they put him against the wall, and he's like, what are you doing? They
beat up Obi-Wan a bit. They give him a couple good sluggers.
Yeah, they have him with his hands up against the wall, and he fucking punches them in the gut a couple times, whatever. And then so he's basically like, he's like, wow, I thought you were smarter than that. Like, really, you got caught? And
you're gonna throw away your life for one little girl?
Yeah, he's like, that was easy. And he like pulls out his lightsaber. He takes his lightsaber from him, and he's like, okay, now he knows like this is Obi-Wan Kenobi
for sure.
And he's like, well, Kenobi, this is the end for you, type shit. And he's like, we're gonna call Revan. She's gonna be down here soon. and then that's when, and he says something like, he's like, "This is the end for you, Kenobi," and he's like, "And also you're bleeding all over my floor," and then Obi-Wan looks at him, he's like, "Well, everybody bleeds," and then he like throws the spice down, and he like covers his face, and like they're all dying, they're all fucking high from the spice.
Batman moment. Just so
Yeah,
good.
and then he like breaks out.
Flea's all
then
drugged up now.
yeah, and then he finds Leia after that, I think.
Yeah, he finds Leia.
He finds Leia. She's in another room. He ends up breaking her out, and she's just like, "What the fuck?" She's like, "Who are you?" She's like,
Yeah, she's
"Get off of
freaking out.
me!"
She don't trust him at all.
And then he's like, "No, I've been set by your dad to help you." And she's
Where's
like,
the army?
She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Where's the army then?" And then he's like, "There's no army. It's just us. We got to get the fuck out of here, or else we're gonna die." And then she's like,
he's laying it down. He's being honest.
and then she's like, how am I supposed to trust you? He's like, "You don't really have a choice." And she's like, fine. He just like pulls her, and they end up leaving. And then the rest of the show from this is just, honestly, it's just him and Leia back and forth, where it's like
it's the pacifier, bro. It's
a pacifier.
It's for real.
Mixed with
John Wick 3.
John Wick 3.
Because as soon as keep going.
So
we're still in the meat and potatoes. Keep going.
He saves Leia, and basically Grand Inquisitor finds out, he shows up, and then they show up to the spice factory, and they kind of start talking to everybody, and they find out that Obi-Wan broke out Leia, and that Reva was the reason. Reva abducted Leia, and to get Obi-Wan to get there, and Grand Inquisitor shows up, and he's like, "Why?" You did that behind my back. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, you're way too impulsive. We keep telling you this, blah, 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 blah. And like, why are you doing this stuff? And then that's when the fifth brother, that's when Han's like, he's like, she's trying to gain favor with Vader or something like that.
Basically.
And then she's like,
more power type shit.
And that's when Grand Inquisitor he's like, "I don't know what the power you're seeking or what you're doing this for," but he's like, "You know what? You're relieved of your duties. Go back home, and you'll be dealt with when we get back. I'm gonna take Obi-Wan."
Key line is, "You are the least of us."
Oh yeah. He starts. They have this whole dialogue where he kind of just says like, "You're the least of us." Like, he's like, "I know the power you're trying to gain, but like the stench that's on you is never gonna be removed," or something like. Like you're still just lower.
You're smelly.
Yeah, you're smelly. And then she's like, "I'm the reason that fucking Obi-Wan is here. Like, what are you talking about?" And he's like, that's when he's like, "Go back. Like, you'll be dealt with when we get back, and you're relieved of your duties." And then he's like, "I'm gonna be the one to bring in Obi-Wan." And so like he takes off, and then she's pissed, and that's when she calls Flea and all of her bounty hunters. And that's when John Wick 3 starts, and she's like,
Obi-Wick.
Obi-Wick 3. And she's like, "I don't care what the fuck happens. Put a hit out on Obi-Wan. Tell every bounty hunter, everybody
Scum
in the
of
city,
the earth, everybody.
let everybody know that Obi-Wan is here, and that there's a price on his head, and everybody reports to me." And then Flea's like, "All right,
easy."
So that's when everybody's now chasing Obi-Wan, Ben, and Leia.
Send it across the city. I want every lowlife and bounty hunter on this planet to know Kenobi is here. They only report to me.
And so, yeah, from here on out, it's just them running away from all these people, but also like them having these little dialogues about different things and it is kind of annoying. I watched it back again, and it is kind of annoying with her, just the way she's acting.
It's just kid character. It's how they have to be written, but it is frustrating because you want, especially because Leia's shown to be smarter, right?
Yeah,
Leia's
exactly.
shown to be wise. So she has this little moment where I can't trust you, and it's like,
and she's just being real immature, and she's a kid, so I get it.
She's scared. She's a kid. She just got. I get it. I just,
But yeah, she has.
A part of me wishes it just goes smooth for a while.
She has these lines where they're walking through the city around a bunch of people, and she just keeps bringing up the fact that he's a Jedi. And she's like, "If you're a Jedi, then why aren't you using your lightsaber?" And then she's like, "You can make people float, right? Make me float. Make me float.
I want to float." Just like, bruh.
And then he's just like,
and she keeps calling him old.
Yeah.
Why does she keep calling him old?
She's like, "You're
isn't
old."
Her dad older? Like
she's like, "You're all old and beat up. You can't be a Jedi." And he just looks at me.
Wow.
Like, "You fucking little shit." And then she's like, "How am I supposed to trust you? I don't even know your name." And he's like, "My name's Ben." And then she's like, "Ben? That's not a Jedi name." And then
I mean, not wrong, but like,
and then she's like, I don't fuck. She's like, I know you're hiding something. And then she's like, how am I supposed to trust you when I know you're hiding something? And then he like stops, and then she says something like, you know, you think the less you say is gonna be I forgot the line she says, but
it's
she
like,
says
yeah, it's like the least you think if you speak less, people won't find out more.
Yeah.
But that's actually when you show the most of yourself.
And
type shit.
she says something kind of profound, and then he like turns around, he looks at her, he's like, how old are you? And then she's like 10, and she's like, you don't act like you're 10. And then she's like, thank you. And then they end up like walking away.
You think the less you say, the less you give away. But really, it's the opposite.
How old are you?
10.
You don't sound like you're 10.
Thank you.
Pretty good moment.
So yeah, it's just back and forth with them just talking and learning more about each other. After that, a bunch of stuff happens. It's really not that important. It's kind of just like them just walking through the city and just talking, but they end up getting on the roof somehow. Obi-Wan gets in a blaster fight with some bounty hunters on the roof. Then Leia gets on the roof as well, and he's like, what are you doing here? Like, go back. And then she's like, okay. She runs and she jumps off the building, and then she like hanging from a fucking wire. She's almost about to die, and then he saves her with the Force. He Force pulls her up before she falls to the ground. But they're just running, and they're trying to get to that cargo transport 8 or whatever, and everybody's hunting them, so it's not really that important.
It's a lot of this episode is like kind of back and forth with Leia being like, well, I can't trust you, runs, and then Kenobi's like, what the fuck? And then they have to escape something, get caught by bounty hunters for a second, get out of that, continue running again. Like it goes a little bit. And then of course we get the side by side with like Reva. She's parkouring over fucking buildings, trying to be badass, and you're like, dude, who the fuck cares?
Yeah, she does like these leaps and
Force
shit.
leaps, and you're like, what the fuck? I didn't know such an infamous. Just like, all right.
So yeah, she ends up. That's the one part that was kind of important where Leia's falling off. She tries to jump across the two roofs, and she ends up falling, landing on like a wire.
Catches herself on a wire.
Catches herself on a wire. She starts falling, and that's when Ben turns around. He like uses the Force to save her, and this is like the second time that he uses the Force, but he hasn't really used it. He's cut himself off from the Force for so long.
This is the part where he actually like tries.
Yeah, and you can see it like he's struggling. He's like, he's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can.
I like this moment. Yeah, keep going, Clay.
Yeah, he ends up saving her. Well, you like this moment. You like. Oh, she does float?
Because she's falling, and then he uses it, and then she like slows down.
Yeah.
And then she just like kind of lands, and I was like,
oh, that's
she got to float. I was
funny.
like, hell yeah. I
didn't even think of that. I didn't think of that. That was kind of
a little cute.
That was a little callback to her saying, I want to make me float, and he makes her float.
I did hate that this had to be the moment where, like, this was the moment where she was like, all right, bet 100% trust. I love you, Kenobi. That's like, bro.
Well, he did save her life.
I get it. I just like.
So after that, everybody such. Yeah, Haja comes in, and they get trapped in like this alleyway, and this dude's about to shoot him, whatever. And then Haja comes in. He just basically blasts this dude, and then he walks up.
Life.
He walks up to Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's like, Leia's standing behind him. He's like, look, if you want the bounty, just like, you can take me, but just leave the girl, whatever. And then Haja comes up. He's like, and then he like totally flips the script. And he's like, here's the key to cargo, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to help you. Like, I'm trying to make amends. And he's like, what? And Ben's like all fucking like, he's like, wait, what? That's not what I expected.
I mean, I wouldn't either. And I in my notes, I was like, I don't think Obi-Wan should trust this dude.
Especially because
like, I don't know if I would.
Especially because when Reva put out that hit, Jaco walks into the room with Kumail, and he's like, he shows him the little iPad or whatever.
He's like, hey, we could be rich, yo.
And he's like, bro, we just gave up on this bounty. We had this dude. He's like, look at all the money we could have made. And then Haja was like, let's go. And so yeah, so it kind of
It sets it up. It
sets you up to think that he's gonna try to sell him, but
I do like when Hodge is like, he's trying to explain everything, and he goes, why would I trust you? And he goes, what choice do you have?
yeah.
I was like, fuck, not wrong. I mean,
Yeah, and he's like, what choice do you have? Like, he's like, I'm giving you the key to the transport. He's like, everything's closed off. There is one cargo ship that is your only escape, and if you get up there, you'll be able to get off this planet. And
don't forget what happens right after this. like right after that moment.
Right after that, Reva, he flips on his hood and he like walks away and blasts a dude, and then he like trying to be all cool.
The double tap was so unnecessary.
Yeah, he's trying to be all cool and like walk away.
I meant the scene after, like right out. It's like a small little scene.
And then Reva shows up, and then he says something like, he's like, all right, here I am, the Jedi you've been looking for. And then Reva's like, what the fuck? And then he's like, yep, it's the one and only Haja Estri. And then she's like,
I'm a Jedi. You've been looking for me at her. And she's like, what? He's like, how much is my bounty now? 1 million, 2 million. Stupid.
And then she force grabs him, and just slams him against the wall, and he's like, that's not magnets. And then she's like, you're not even a fucking Jedi. And then he's like,
I'll never tell you what you want to know.
Yeah, and then he basically just buys a little more time for Obi-Wan and Leia. And then does she kill him? No, she doesn't kill him, right?
No, she just force probes his mind and gets the info. But I mean, I don't know if he'd be dead after this, but he's definitely KO'd. He's definitely out of this scene. I was gonna say, don't forget that right before this, we actually see the end of Flea. Is that enough?
Oh, that's true. The
Inquisitors get wind of Reva doing her plan, and they're not happy about it.
And so he's doing a little helicopter lightsaber thing, and then Flea, he's like, tell me what I want to know. And Flea's like, oh, I don't know anything. He's like trying to hold it back, and you can feel like him like resisting while he's getting closer, and then you hear the lightsaber fucking just cut into him.
Bounty on Kenobi. Where is he?
Don't go.
Good moment.
So after that, Reva meets Haja, and they have their little exchange. Haja gets knocked out. I don't think you see him again in this show.
Do not see him again, unfortunately.
He'll probably come back though. I'm almost positive.
But he definitely made an imprint as a fan favorite right there. He's gotta come back. Even if for like one moment.
You'll see him in Ice Cube later. No, I'm just kidding. And
bro, if him and Ice
they're gonna be the next Han Solo and fucking
Chewbacca. No, bro.
And then so they argue, and after that, Reva and the Grand Inquisitor end up on the cargo ship with Obi-Wan and Leia, and this is like the final fight or whatever.
Well, really quick rewind just a little bit. I do want to go into the dialogue between Kenobi and Leia, like right before this, because remember, Leia starts asking more questions, doing more of her wisdom shift, and then Kenobi makes a reference. You remind me of someone.
Oh yeah.
And so I did want to bring that back, where they do reference Padme, and that it felt, it was like a heartwarming connection right there. So I liked that moment. 10 out of 10 for compassion. Keep going.
And so he says something like, he's like, you remind me of someone, and she's like, who? Was it a Jedi? And he's like, no. And he's like, she was a leader. She was a great leader.
Damn.
And then
nothing, you just remind me of someone. She was fearless too, and stubborn.
I'm not stubborn.
Yes, you are.
I'm not. Was your friend a Jedi too?
No, she was a leader. She died a long time ago.
I'm sorry.
Me too.
And then I was like, okay, so
so good.
But yeah, so obviously he's talking about Queen Amidala, Padme, and her mom. And so, which we were talking about before, how like Leia was always kind of we'll talk about that after. But so yeah, they're on the cargo ship, and that's when Leia and Obi-Wan on the cargo ship, the Grand Inquisitor and Reva show up. Well, Reva's there first, and she's like, Obi-Wan, I can fucking smell you. Like, I know you're here.
can smell you, Obi-Wan.
I can smell you. And then he's like, he basically tells Leia, like, here, take this fucking key or whatever and run away and go get on the ship, whatever, get away. He's like, I'll try to make it back to you if I don't. Love you, basically, bye. And so Reva's like, they're about to fight. She pulls out the lightsaber. She's cutting down boxes and shit in this cargo ship. And she's looking for him. She finally finds him, whatever. And then what happens? Inquisitor shows up, and that's when her and the Inquisitor had this little back and forth again. The same thing they've been arguing about, but basically
she's too ambitious. She's only after power. He's gonna take the glory.
Yeah, and she's like talking to him, and at this point she's just fed up with this.
She's like, you know what, man?
She just
you.
she just fed up with this dude, and she's like, you know what? And she just stabs him right in the chest.
Move aside. Watch and learn.
Really think I'd let you take all the credit?
And yeah, we did mention this before, how like we wish there would have been like at least some kind of fight, some kind of duel.
Dude, you showed him earlier stopping her saber, like being like a badass, and now all of a sudden he can't sense the evil intention 2 feet from. Okay.
Yeah, but you know,
she's powerful, bro.
But it's the dark
side. Like,
that's what entails with being part of the dark side. Like you live by the dark, you die by the dark.
Die by the dark.
And it's kind of true. Like when you're on the good side, like people are always gonna try to always help each other out and stuff. But when you're on the dark side, like everybody's just
to do it.
Everybody's just after it's all selfish reasons. So like everybody's after their own shit. So like
power.
They will turn on you, and like that's
it's appropriate for the character. It's infuriating with how they get away with it in like short segments like that, you know? Like you want there to be a little bit of struggle. You want Reva to kind of earn it, but it just feels like it's like, oh boom, now I have the upper hand. And you're like, all right, cool, throw it away, I guess. Like,
maybe her and Han will fight later.
Oh, give me that. I love it. I would love that. Like give me like a good 3-minute fight scene of that. That's gonna be hot.
Yeah, they should have had a brother and sister.
I meant like the lightsaber battles are sexy. All right. The visuals go hard.
So yeah, she ends up killing the Grand Inquisitor, and she's like, "Fuck that! You're not taking my glory. I did all this. I'm gonna be the one that's gonna get in Vader's favor."
Right.
And so they end up arguing, and she stabs him, and then somehow I don't know what happens after this, but Obi-Wan
takes the moment. Yeah, he takes the moment that she killed her master, and he just like, we're out of here, bye.
Yeah, he's like we're gone. So he dips out, and then she's
and
like,
Reva's like, Obi-Wan.
Yeah. She screams. She's like, you won't get away.
I will beg you.
And then
Can't find Obi-Wan. You can't escape him.
and I think that's where it ends, right? What happens after that? I didn't get notes for after that. Oh, Vader. It shows Vader.
Get that Vader shot, baby.
Where's he at?
He's in his tube.
Oh yeah, in his tank. Yeah, that's
he's in
true.
The tank. Because Obi-Wan because he's now more connected to the Force because of this, so he feels the presence of Vader. And
damn, Vader's kind of scary, dude.
Dude, you need to watch. You need to read a comic or two about Vader just doing Vader shit, because there's a moment where like comic shout out, like Vader's surrounded by like an army of dudes, and he goes. And he just pulls out his lightsaber and he goes, "You guys are all surrounding me." And he goes, "Perfect." And it's like the best way to take out multiple enemies. And you're like, whoa, and he just murders everyone, dude. Vader's bad. Vader's hard. You need to understand, like the original trilogy, a little clunky because movement, suits, all that effects. But in lore, he's pretty fucking terrifying. Like the best interpretation we've seen is at the end of Rogue One, honestly.
Oh, that's my favorite Star Wars movie.
I'm just saying, the ending where Vader goes through that hallway, that's probably the most accurate representation of Vader.
Where it's like the callback to the original prequel. That was such a dope scene. I fucking love that movie.
They knew what they were doing, dude.
I love that movie. That movie's great.
Row One, great. Donnie Yen, fantastic.
True. Oh, I think I cried.
Dude, we all cried.
All right. Anyways, and with who was the bot's name in that movie? Um,
Oh.
he was like one of the best characters.
I'm gonna look it up. I got you. Hold on. Keep going. I got you.
But yeah, that was it. So it just shows.
K2SO.
Yeah. K2SO.
And he was voiced by Alan Tudyk, the legend.
Hey. And so yeah, it shows Vader, and that's he's in his tube. Now he's awake and he can feel Obi-Wan, and he is coming.
Oh. He's pissed, awesome. Bro. He's pissed. Set him on. Last thing he did was set him on fire.
True. In lava.
In lava. Get wrecked. Get freaked. Where are you?
On some Terminator shit. Yeah, so yeah, that was episode 1 and 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Part 1 and 2 Kenobi. It's Disney. Honestly, like I said, you guys need to watch it. You guys need to get this experience yourself, but hopefully we gave you some insight into just how badass it really is. Because honestly, the build-up, worth it.
This is a great show. This is one of my, like I said, I was hyped to watch this.
I'm looking forward to the future releases because I definitely want to see where they take Kenobi. Like we all know where he's gonna end up, right? Like clearly the future content has the previous content has kind of spoiled that, Clone Wars, things like that. But I am excited to see how this show builds one of the best characters in Star Wars.
Does it say how many episodes are supposed to be?
As far as I'm aware, it's a mini series, so it should
like
only
6?
be 10 parts.
Oh, 10?
Probably more so 6, but especially with this huge budget. But let me see. Let me double check.
Yeah. So but I don't even know where this next episode's gonna go, honestly. I couldn't even tell you.
It's 6, yeah. You are correct.
Yeah, 6. So it's very short, but I don't even know where they're gonna take this, but I don't know. I'm excited to see how it builds. I hope it only gets better. I hope it doesn't.
I mean, there's no doubt about that it's going to, because we still have a lot. If we do this show and we don't see Luke, there's an issue. Like we have to see Luke at some point, right?
No, yeah,
they have to have Luke. A conversation, right?
And they show his on Google. You can see his character too.
Oh, okay.
But
where's Ice Cube fit in? That's what
I'm saying. But like, how do you think this show ends? Like, what?
I think it's gonna be.
Where do they take this? Basically, what's the whole story? Obi-Wan it's gonna lead up into what? It can't lead up all the way until he becomes a.
No, it's gonna lead up essentially to. I'm pretty sure it's gonna lead kind of more so like a precursor to what his role is in the Clone Wars, which is it. I mean, we still see Obi-Wan doing his thing, but we actually, fun facts, get more of Darth Maul.
Yeah, I thought the Clone Wars was before this.
I
don't know.
The show extends a bit. Let me double check my sources. Hold on. But yeah,
I'm not sure. But I don't even know where they take this. But if it's only 6, I'm excited to see where this goes, because I don't think it's gonna go all the way up to A New Hope. But yeah, it's a good show. Like you said, there's some recurrent themes. Obviously, the show. I mean, this universe itself kind of always just builds on itself and repeats itself.
Okay, so I apologize. I said it was Clone Wars. It's actually Star Wars Rebels.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Rebels. So this is a prequel to Rebels?
I don't know if it's a direct prequel, but I will say that it definitely it's gonna lead up to basically where Obi-Wan is in his life in that show, which is he's still on Tatooine, being Luke's protector, thing like that. And then we see more so Darth Maul trying to piece back his anger. So you can only imagine what happens, right?
Last comments, I will say that I do think, like we mentioned earlier, I do think Reva was supposed to be one of those children that you see, one of the younglings that you see in the very beginning, the very first shot. I do think she is one of those, and that's why she's so like hell bent on getting just trying to be made equal or trying to just get her revenge or
on Obi-Wan, you know,
yeah.
one of the like council members especially, who he was supposed to be there, you know, he was
Yeah.
supposed to do everything he could, and he kind of just up and left.
And there's some key things in there where she says like instead of saying Vader, Lord Vader, when she talks to Obi-Wan or whatever,
Oh, okay.
she says something like Anakin Skywalker is alive. And so that's how you know, like she knows
It's a personal connection.
Yeah, it's more personal. And she knows that he knows Anakin or whatever the fuck. And so like, yeah, I think she has a bigger role to play. And even though she wasn't my favorite character in this show, I think they're gonna build it up a little more, definitely.
They're setting her up to be the, if anything, I mean,
The main
they're
villain.
they're setting her up to be like the climactic fight,
Yeah.
but we'll see. You know, it honestly depends, because you know, one second we had the most badass Inquisitor, and the next Reva killed him. So it's really hard to see what direction it could go in, because it really sees like
She'll be like the number 2 basically, and then Vader's obviously gonna be like the number 1 baddie.
all right, I'm predicting it now. Haraj is gonna come back, headshot Reva, easy.
What the fuck?
Easy.
Yo, you gotta watch Quarter Digital just put out a video about if all the stormtroopers got free healthcare and free eye free free eye insurance or vision insurance. And so like instead of missing all their shots, they make all their shots, and
Stupid.
It's a pretty funny episode, dude.
I'll check it out. Quarter Digital. I got you.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
And
free healthcare, dude.
And yeah, I think I personally, like I said, I like the show. I don't have any qualms with this show. I think Obi-Wan, this is a necessary thing for him to go through, especially since like he's still, it's after the events of the prequels. So like he's still, we haven't seen him go through this stuff yet. So we have to see him.
I'm waiting for the money shot where he actually does break down and he starts crying. I'm waiting for the Ewan McGregor tears.
Maybe.
We haven't seen Obi-Wan in a state like that since the end of 3, right? Like that's the only time we've ever seen him even distressed. So
yeah.
You know he's got to go through something powerful here. Like it's got to be
also,
a moment that flips him entirely.
I thought you were gonna trash the show a lot more than you did.
No, I took it from I took it from a professional critique. Like I looked at it and I was like, I'm gonna look at this show. I think it's, you know, I'm gonna.
Because when we had our conversation the other day, you were kind of trashing it a lot more than you were today.
Oh well, that was like right after I've seen it. You know, like I'm more reactionary, like emotional wise, and in my notes, I'll be honest, half of it is, why the fuck is Reva here? I hate Reva. Like, I honestly, I don't. I dislike characters like.
You want to go through your notes?
I mean, you covered everything. I just shorthanded. Like I said, Order 66, intense. Kenobi struggles. He's down in his life. I made some observations more than anything, and I took like quotes that I thought were more impactful than they might initially seem. One thing that we did mention was when he is on Daiyu, Kenobi on part 2, and he goes through, like, he sees the homeless stormtrooper, the veteran.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that's one of my questions to you was like, do you think that's more so out of like him moving on from it, or do you think he's genuinely trying to be compassionate in this moment? Like,
I don't know. That was an interesting scene to me too, because they did kind of like zoom in on that dude and like give him a little shine, and and like Obi-Wan like had this connection with him. I was like, wait, does he know this clone trooper or something?
Nah,
or
maybe that's why he's questioning it. Like maybe at one point we crossed blades, you know, and now he's like, oh, okay, well, here's some money. Yeah, you know, you want some food? Here you go. A lot of it, there's a lot of establishing shots, and I honestly feel like that's mainly for lore reasons. Like Leia's running through, you know, one of her 8 running scenes, and there's on the streets of Daiyu, there's a bunch of like creatures and like things like that. And I think those are, I don't know if I cannot tell you if those are like direct callbacks to any of the other planets we've seen throughout the series. But if so, I thought that was just more so for lore. It wasn't like really to like establish even Leia as like a good escape artist. It's just more so like, oh, here's some lore for you guys. Like you guys will like this, right? Let's see. Here I put, yeah, cool kill on the kidnapper, flee, 10 out of 10. I let's see. I just made comments like I think it, the reference to Padme was great. More Rev is fucking annoying. Oh, she's true evil, And at the very end, I just put cool Vader shot. I was just so pretty basic shorthand notes here. But nothing that you didn't cover and that I didn't interject with.
Yeah, yeah, I think we pretty much said everything we wanted to say. I think it's a great show, and I think
The
it's
quality is definitely top notch. It's movie quality for sure. For a show.
And that's why I really got excited when I watched it too, because I was like, okay, this doesn't feel like one of those just like those Marvel shows that aren't up to Marvel quality. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't feel like a Star Wars show that isn't up to Star Wars quality. It felt like a Star Wars movie just shortened into a show. And I'm glad that I'm glad that it does that, because I was hyped when I saw the trailer originally, and I was like, oh man, if this is like another just B show, like I'm gonna be so hurt. But no, they did it justice, and I think it's cool.
I think it feels like they gave McGregor more, they gave him less direction. Like it feels like they kind of let him go into the character himself more so.
Yeah, maybe.
Like at least that's just how it feels. Clearly, I don't know behind the scenes or nothing, but there's a lot here where it feels less like I'm reading the line. It feels like more he's embodied Kenobi.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. He's more Kenobi than ever.
Yeah. And it's cool. One thing too, like I know you were complaining about like Obi's such a bitch in this show, like just man the fuck up type
that's
shit.
Writing. It's a lot to do with the writing and how I feel the character should be. But that's also because I'm kind of sick of seeing the tragic hero trope.
Yeah.
Like it's something that I want to move forward from in media, because it honestly feels like every other movie is tragic hero, like Morbius just came out and all that other shit. So it's just a reflection of the standards of today.
But
it's not even personal against the show.
I did want to mention though that like I don't know if other people feel that way. I think they need to realize that like Obi-Wan Kenobi was never the chosen one. He was never like someone that was supposed to be like all high and mighty.
Important, right?
He's always been just like a guardian. He's always been just like a support, honestly. Like even no matter how badass he was in the prequels, he was always still just a support. He was Qui-Gon's support, and he was Anakin's support. He was Luke's support.
Even when Qui-Gon's gone, everyone only compares him ever to Qui-Gon. He's only ever seen in Qui-Gon's shadow, and so this
it makes
going to give him his chance to be an individual. So I like
that, and it makes sense that like he's kind of scared, and he doesn't know how to take the reins and be like the number one dude yet. He has to figure that out.
He has to build that confidence in his own ability, especially because since, as you said, he hasn't used the Force in forever. So it's not like he doesn't even hold himself to title of Jedi anymore. He goes, that's not who I used to be, right? Like I haven't been that guy in forever.
I'm just Ben.
Ben the Jedi.
Ben the Jedi. So yeah, all in all, I think, what would you rate this out of 10? Episode 1. Episode 1, would you rate it?
I think in my regard, episode 2 holds a better candle, because we see more so the results of episode 1 coming to fruition. So I think I would put it 7 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10.
7 and 8.
Yeah, it's really hard to give something past that unless it's like breathtaking. I have no complaints, but like I told you, like as soon as I saw it, I was like, I kind of did review this critically, because it's something that you kind of want to, like, this is something that we've wanted for so long, like a Kenobi spinoff, and it's like, yes. And to look at it so critically, I think is going to make my surprise and my disbelief of like what's going to come more, it's going to just amplify that even. So
I'm gonna go opposite of you. I think I like the first episode a little better.
Okay. I thought you meant like in terms of where the show.
No. I like the first episode better, but I think it was like maybe 8.5 and like a 7.
Okay.
I think the second episode was just a little, although it was like it had more comedy bits and stuff. It was just a little slower for me, and it was like, okay, they're just running through the city, and they're just
Little
like,
chunky, yeah. No, the
yeah,
running scenes get a little exhausting because you're like, this honestly should be happening this much. But
yeah,
it feels like they
exactly.
do it to give us, the audience, a breath so that we can properly transition to, well, what's the dark side doing now? You know?
Yeah, yeah. So, but no, it was good. I say like an 8.5 and a 7 for those two.
I'm gonna say that those visuals that we mentioned, the score,
Score was lit.
everything that we loved about
Visuals
the
are great.
the original prequel, the older ones, everything about them that keeps you interested, like to the worlds, to the and every item, every person, it's all still here. It's all still great, and it's all still curious inducing.
Yeah. All in all, if you like Star Wars and you want more good
You need
Star
more
Wars
lore?
content,
This is it. Yep.
this is a decent show. And I don't think you will be upset at watching it.
Not at all.
I mean, shit, maybe you will. I don't know. Tom was apparently Tom D from Twitch.
I got you.
But yeah. Oh, that's it.
No bullshit. That's how it is.
No bull. I will come back. You want to do episode 3 next week when it comes out?
Yeah, we could do it like a day or two after it comes out.
All right, I'm down. There's only 6, so
yeah,
only
of course,
4 more left.
Yeah, we can do it.
So, yeah, that's it. No bull. Of course, if you want more, great. I'm gonna try to do some shorts of this and get the social media up and running so we can get like some little clips and stuff to kind of just get it out there more. Sure. But so yeah, we'll see where this goes from here. I'm excited. It's dope.
Episode 3.
And let's get it.
For sure.
No muff bull.